guess what? It's your time to shine. It's your time in the sun. Is now your opportunity to become and do what you're supposed to do as a quarterback. We have arrived, Mr. Spencer Rattler. And like I said, he's going to have a certain period of time right now because they don't feel Tyler's ready. But listen, you got before they start, if Tyler's handling his business, will stave off the Tyler Shuck thing because Shuck is going to be getting better. We know that Kellen, like he drafted Tyler. He's a second round pick. Picked them up real high. So Spencer Rattler knows I got the job. I know I just barely won it, but it's still my job. I have to handle it. I got it now. I'm a starting quarterback now. I got to handle the business. So let's listen to Spencer Rattler, man, on this interview. Then we'll do a few other things.
Coaches I've had in the past, so everybody's excited. I'm excited. Teammates were excited. So that's always a great feeling.
How did you attack the offseason and maybe draw off some of your games from last year and the experience there to improve and head into camp and this season better?
Yeah. Really just all the little areas, focus on footwork, timing, being more decisive. And obviously the best reps is experience and getting reps in, live action or in practice versus our one defense. So I think the offseason was great for me. And then OTAs, training camp, preseason was just, an extra layer on the cake to improve.
People always reference your decision making and how quickly you're able to make those decisions. Sounds great. It looks great when it happens, but how do you execute that quickly?
Yeah, it's not going to be perfect at all every time. We all know that. It's an 11-man game, so we all have to be on our job. And I think that's one thing we preached is, own our little small details so everybody can be on the same page and then everybody can play fast. So we got that good chemistry going. So I just try to distribute the ball, run the play that's called and, trust in my training.
When people refer to you, they say you're very confident, maybe have some swagger, some moxie. What does that mean?
I just think ever since I was a kid, I've wanted to always be confident. That's what my parents taught me. Be confident in yourself and what you can do, but also, be confident in others around you, your teammates, your coaches. So, that's kind of a collective thing. But I think as a quarterback, you want to have a little something to you, and I think I can even take that bar to the next level and bring more energy for the team and bring more of that, out of me. So, yeah.
What fuels that fire, that little something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, just kind of as a team, I feel like we're overlooked. Everybody's kind of sleeping on us this year, but we want to, prove people wrong. And we want to go out there and play great, play fast, play strong, play together. And, I got confidence in this whole team and we're excited for the opportunity.
What is it about Coach Kellen Moore that you related to quickly? Because he seems like he's come in and the guys have really taken to him.
Yeah, no, his just fresh energy. I think that's the word everybody's been using. He came in and it was a culture change for sure. Very positive, very big on team bonding, which was new to a lot of us. And I think that just brings us closer. And then, even basic things like how he schedules out everything. I think guys are a lot healthier this year. Guys are, bodies are holding up a little better. And
team bonding, which was new to us. Why not? Didn't Dennis Allen, the possum, give you team bonding? Team bonding, which was new to us.
Football stuff. He's played the position at a high level. Obviously, his resume speaks for itself, and
that's
really
funny.
Enjoyed installing the system and building on it each day.
Well, I've said that he played at a high level. I've seen it. I went to some of his games in college. Have you watched any of his game film?
I think when I was younger, I remember watching him, at Boise a little bit. I might have to go back in the archives and watch some tape on him, but no, he only lost 2 games in college and got the most touchdowns ever and this and that. So he did his thing in college for sure.
Definitely. And he did mention that while he also ran a 4.9 at the combine, as did you, his was definitely a 4.9, took everything that he had to get that. Whereas he said yours definitely is faster and the game speed is different. Have you clocked yourself in a 40 recently?
No, I'll probably never, ever run a 40 again. That's never been my strength, is that starting track speed. But like you said, I feel like when you got guys chasing you and you got some adrenaline rushing, you just let that take over. The 40 is more technical, stuff like that.
How does this offense under Kellen Moore set you and your teammates up for success?
Mm-hmm. We got to go out there and do it. That's the number one thing, to be successful. We got to execute at a high level. And I know he's going to call the right plays, put us in the right position to do that. So it's up to us to make that work. But I'm confident in our guys and in myself to do that. I think we have all the weapons we need. We got solid up front, starting with Eric McCoy and our O-line. I think they've had a great offseason. And, obviously the weapons out wide at tight end in the backfield. Got explosive guys for sure.
You can keep up with them, right?
Yeah.
Well, the whole thing is too, man, is that if you listen to Mr. Spencer, he's telling you, man, at the first, she asked him about the Kellen Moore offense, and the guy is quick. He didn't give anything. Didn't tell you specifically, but the prior question, he kind of mentioned the fact that we got to play fast. And that's the key to it. The key to it for the Saints with the track team, Saints offense, is a blitz mood. You as an offense, with all the speed they have, Saints have to play fast. They have to. They're going to have to identify the mismatches, lining up with the receiver play. Get the ball out fast, meaning not just to how fast our guys is to get in and out of breaks and be able to beat the one-on-one matchups and to put pressure on defenses to produce packages where you have 4 and 5 defensive backs out there, possibly, and you have Speed and Elvin moving around and Vellis and Devin Neal and all of our fantastic 5 wide receivers, all these guys out here. It's going to be, we got to start fast and furious, and getting the ball out fast helps the offensive line too, because we don't have to worry that much about the left guard or the right guards. You see? Getting in and out and being fast, baby. That's what it's about. Let's
sure.
Out of the players on the field, who is somebody that you need him on the field for you to be the best that you can be?
That's a tough one. I mean,
Alvin Kamara.
I would say Eric McCoy. He's like our heart and soul up front. It's just,
that's a good one.
Obviously Pro Bowl player, one of the best in the league, and you just feel confident when he's in the game. And then you got Olave, Shaheed, Jawan, you got AK. I mean, the list goes on and on, so it's hard to pick one guy. You have pretty good depth, and guys will step up and make plays.
Have you envisioned what it's going to look like when you have all those weapons on the field? Because you didn't necessarily have that last year.
Yeah, no, I've seen it live now. Being in there with them, it feels different. It's fun. I mean, they make the game easier for you. And yeah, last year, it's in the past, and we try to make it work with what we had. Those guys fought hard last year, but having these guys back all healthy, you could definitely see on the field, on tape, how explosive it can be.
A quarterback
you said that you're going to continue to remain confident throughout and know that this is your spot. You are the starter here and not going to relinquish that for anything. How do you execute that, make that happen? I
think that's the biggest thing as a quarterback is you have to keep your confidence throughout the storms and all that, because there's going to be highs, there's going to be lows. That's just part of this league, and it's going to be a challenge every single week, as we all know. So we're going to go out there and fight, and I always live by if I give 110% out there every rep, and leave nothing on the field, I have no regrets. So I know everybody else will do that, and I'm going to do it for sure.
How different was it coming in year 1 to year 2?
I think just getting thrown in that fire earlier than expected last year was good for me. After looking back at it, getting those live reps, getting, going against good teams, almost all playoff teams last year that I started against, and getting those reps were crucial for me. I think it helped me grow watching tape from last year and then trying to implement things I could work on coming into this year and talking with Kellen and Nussmeier and Scott and all these guys. And they've done a great job coaching us and fitting our strengths into the system, if you know what I mean. So that's been fun.
Is Nussmeier's voice for real?
Yeah, that's him. I tell you, he's got to speak clear on that mic in practice, but no, we all understand him, man. That's just his natural voice.
With the experience that you have from former quarterbaks in the coaching staff, how much does that benefit you when you don't have?
Is his voice real?
Yeah, I think having 3 guys that played the position on the NFL.
That's funny.
Is crucial. Very beneficial for us. They see the game like we say, see the game, and if we see something different, we'll just communicate it. And I think the drills they implement, how the timing of the plays, this and that, they all understand it. So it's a little different when you have a guy that actually knows what it's like to be in that messy pocket and having to throw with somebody hitting you at the same time. They get it. So they get the physical side and the mental side that goes with the game. So I've enjoyed it.
You mentioned that you really liked how Coach Moore was emphasizing the team bonding element. What was your favorite thing that the team did, or maybe you and some teammates did over the offseason?
Yeah, I mean, I think what stands out was probably the paintballing and the bowling. Those are 2 fun events we did, and we're all competitive, so we had different teams and different matchups. So that was fun in the offseason. All
right, we're going to dive in a little bit more on pre-NFL life with Spencer Rattler coming up next on the Gulf Coast Sports Internet.
All right, so anyway, that was a little bit of, if you want to listen to the rest of it, it's on the Saints broadcast channel on YouTube and on their website as well. It's about 23 and 20 minutes, but that's about almost 10 minutes of it right there. And it was pretty interesting and fun to listen to what he had to say basically about the Saints offense and what they need to do. And Spencer didn't give too much away, but we know the key to the Saints is tempo, right? It is tempo. The Saints have to be fast. They have to get in and out of there. They have to be able to kind of move an offense. They got to be fast, right? And that's what if you get all these guys with 40 times that are super fast, you have to be able to have a high or a fast tempo that you play with in and out of breaks. You have to be disciplined. And it's just going to be interesting to see how the Saints do that. And you hear him talk about a player that he can't do without. I said Alvin Kamara. He said Eric McCoy, which is a good choice because that's his center. What's a QB without a great center? Anyway, let's kind of tune this thing up. Let's listen to this next fella, his old Nuss Bus, the father, Nussmeier, the ex-business. That's his real voice. He do sound kind of funny, man. But let's listen to Nussmeier for a little bit and see what he had to say about the black and gold. Here we go, fam. Here we go.
send pressure from every level. Just what's the challenge involved in that?
Well, the biggest challenge for us is communication. And when you play a multiple defense like this, they play in many different structures. You got to make sure everybody's on the same page. So we've stressed all week to our guys that it doesn't necessarily matter if we got the ideal call, because you might not always have the ideal call because these guys disguise so well. But the biggest thing is that everybody's on the same page and we execute the calls we're making.
How much of a challenge is that? It seems that they will show something pre-snap to force an adjustment and then do something different that attacks that very adjustment. How challenging is that, especially with a young quarterback, or is that helpful in that you can kind of mold that young quarterback to do what you want to do?
Well, obviously, they're trying to create confusion for the quarterback, and so we would anticipate that we'll get quite a bit of that. And Jonathan's always been really good at that. So it's been a trademark of the stuff he's always done defensively. And I think even last year, he probably got a little more exotic than he's been in the past. So we'll be prepared. We're working all different types of looks, obviously, and with a young quarterback, you can anticipate everything.
Aside from the specific challenge of their defense, what's your message to Spencer this week? Because he's, I'm sure, jacked up to go out and make big plays. Yeah, I'm sure you want the game to come as well.
Well, he doesn't need to do anything than what he's done since we got here. And that's, be process driven, or the way that we've prepared every day since we got here. And just go be you. Let the offense work for you. You don't have to be the offense. Let the offense work for you and do your job.
Is the Arizona defense that John runs compared to what Brandon runs here? I know they've had background together.
Yeah. All these guys, they're all kind of like stepbrothers, or however you want to call them. They're kind of intertwined in one way, but they have their own intricacies. So
you do got a weird voice.
Like Brandon,
I don't know if I can get that
trying
one.
to create doubt and indecision in the quarterback's mind. So there's some similarities, yet there's quite a few differences. Also,
You got a high version of Fire Marshal Bill going on. I don't know if I can.
In practice, and it's one of the things when you talk about training camp. Why you like to get out and do joint practices is because you get to see a different structure. What happens when you play quarterback? Your eyes get trained, seeing the same.
I don't know if I can get that one.
You pick up things when you know what's kind of coming. So it's good to see different styles, and this is a unique style.
I know this is his first week prepping as a starting quarterback, but how much of an extra, prep you see out of him, because he's getting to play his hometown team?
Well, I think that you'd have to ask him that question. I think what I've seen is a guy that's focused, a guy that's prepared the right way. And obviously, we still got quite a bit of time before the game, but I believe he'll continue to prepare and be ready to go.
How do you think the preparation have really, gone to another level after, he's won the quarterback competition?
I don't think he's changed. I think that's all three guys in the room. I'll say that for him. Nobody's changed. Like we said, it was a tough decision, and everybody's continued to work. Everybody's continued to be about our process and how we do things.
How have you seen him kind of pick up the offense? Obviously, it's a quick turnaround.
Sure, really great guy. Done a really good job. Obviously, he's behind in the learning curve a little bit, which is expected. And the biggest thing for us is to put things together for him in packages where he can master a package and not try and take on everything at one point in time.
Does it add his skill set in general? Does that make your life easier as an offensive guy? Does that open up some options that might not have existed with the smaller?
Could you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Just his skill set, his size, does that kind of open things up a little bit in terms of how you can attack certain situations?
Well, obviously, one of the things you love about the player is his length and his catch radius. And obviously, he's a smart guy, man. I'm telling you, like I said, we kind of start in packages, and just to watch how quickly he's picked up the things that we've asked him to do, it's been impressive.
Ask about maybe personal excitement for you being back on the sideline for a regular season game and then the Super Bowl.
I don't know if I can catch that one, man. I can mimic a lot of stuff, man. Guys, a kind of a higher version of Fire Marshal Bill, man, going on. I don't think I can do the Dougie voice. It's got a structure. I can't do that. That'll tear up all your damn throat trying to emulate this fella. All right, but he talking some good game though.
Yeah, I haven't really thought about it. I've been really just thinking about our team and the Arizona Cardinals, and every time I get a chance to step in that dome, it's special. But this is about me. This is about our players and our team.
Boy, you hit it, man. You hit it dead on there. A round of applause. That's exactly who it is. That's who it is. You are absolutely right. Hold on, fam. Y'all know I'm petty. Mr. Don, shout out to Mr. Don. Because I was hearing, I was like, man, he reminded me of somebody. Who is it? That is Mills Lane. You are not kidding. Mills Lane is the same. Hold on, man. Where my Mills Lane? Dougie Nussmeier, a.k.a. Mills Lane. Hold on, fam. We got to do a voice comparison. We're going to pause the show for a second. We're going to do a voice comparison, man. And we're going to do some voice work here and find out what's going on, man. All right. Hold on, fam. We're going to pause the show for a second. We're going to do a voice comparison. Is this the voice of Doug Nussmeier?
Is failing miserably.
Let's get it on!
He's the most famous ref on earth, thanks to restoring order to 4 of boxing's most lawless, weird, and outrageous fights.
The skydiver has just landed here at ringside.
The infamous Fan Man. Things law and order.
He bit his ear, 2 points off.
All rise. Second Judicial District Court stated.
Yeah, he was a judge too. That's crazy. A referee and a judge.
In Reno, Lane dispenses justice on a full-time
Rest in
basis.
peace, Mills
He's
Lane.
a district judge in Washoe County, Nevada.
Mr. Stroud has 18 prior convictions, 8 of them are felonies.
His nickname,
You're going to do time, I guarantee.
It's Doug
all the time I
Nussmeier.
can give him.
Maximum Mills.
What's a Mills Lane courtroom like? Are you a let's get it on kind of judge?
Well, it's not a Mills Lane courtroom, it's the people's courtroom where Mills Lane is presiding.
I stand.
Getting the opportunity to really get out there and going and everything, just sort of maybe the excitement level around that.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting for us for our staff, at least for most of the staff. A couple guys have been here in the past. It's a courtroom where we start on time. We know it's after 9 o'clock. What time do you get up in the morning? We're all very excited. And the biggest thing is it's going to boil down to 11 on 11 between the lines. And the biggest thing is for us to play. Mr. Deputy Sheriff, take him into custody. Some guy was talking to a defense lawyer. And he said, "Good morning, Judge Lane is my worst nightmare." I have a long history with Alvin, being in Alabama with him when he came out of high school. And so, we were there for a year and then following his career from there on, just, a lot of respect for obviously everything he's accomplished throughout his career. And you just...
Oh man, y'all, Mr. Don, you the truth, brother. You the truth. I was trying to figure it out. I think we got a winner, family. We got a winner. What's up, St. John? What's up, Slim L Dog? What's up, fam? All right, Q time, man. Yeah, he said we don't care about his voice, just his knowledge, baby. But it's funny, though, Q. Come on, bro. Q time. Come on, bro. You a relative, man. You got to cut it out. All right. Young City 9. What's up, bro? Shout out to you, man. What's up, Barbara? Shout out to my girl, Barbara. What's up, Tragic? What's up, 504 Rusty? Michael Mitchell, Student, YO. What's up, fam? Good to see you. Brother Marlo, how you doing, man? Good to see you in the building, baby. Ro, what's up, Ro? What's popping, fam? I see y'all, man. Much love to y'all, man. Let's get on. Let's get on back to Dougie, aka Mills Lane Nussmeier. Here we go.
Juice when he steps on the field and touches the ball, you feel his juice, and he's got that extra gear, and it's exciting. It's going to be exciting to come out. Obviously had the one real productive play in the preseason, so it'll be really awesome to see him get a lot more than one coming up on Sunday.
How was Saturday night?
Saturday night was a good night. I think I don't know what I did. There was maybe a college football game or something like that happened. That's not a good thing.
Boy, let me tell you something. LSU put it on. Hey, listen, man. Let me talk my talk for a second. Because all this time, all I heard was how LSU was going to get beat by Clemson. That's all I was hearing. All the commentators were saying LSU, they're going to lose another one. It's going to be 6 straight years of opening season losses, and all the Tigers did was go in there defensively. They were there all game long. The offense struggled. Then like we know, fam, y'all know that whether it's college or anywhere, it's a game of adjustments. The second half happened, and LSU made the adjustments from a defensive standpoint and, importantly, an offensive standpoint. The offense came out firing. His son played a really solid game. And Nussmeier always felt like his son Garrett is a good quarterback, but it was a question in the diehards of LSU whether Doug Nussmeier can take you to that next level, like you've seen with guys like Joe Burrow and Jaden Daniels, who he's kind of following in the line of, right? But man, he was making plays, and they also tried to cheat LSU. Yes, they did with the takeaway touchdown. But you look at that throw that I said Nussmeier's ready some big time football this year, because that throw at that moment of the game where he laid the football out to Baron Brown along the sideline between the defender where he put that ball at, he put that ball in the one spot that the defender couldn't get to. And It was such a tight window, and Doug Nussmeier threaded that needle. He made that throw, and I was like, wow. And Baron Brown caught the ball and got the touchdown, and then they were saying, oh, he got out on the 1 yard line. Then they went back, looked at it, found out the man was actually touchdown, and referees came, oh, he was incomplete. They tried to cheat LSU, and it should have been 24-10, but ultimately LSU defense kept kicking them in their teeth, and the offense did enough to win the game. So they did a wonderful job in an environment that was extremely hostile. And them bastards were out there trying to cheat us, by the way, but we got up out of there with a W. So in the end, man, Garrett Nussmeier, that was a big throw during a big moment of the game. I was like, that guy, here we go. He might be something here. That was a huge throw and a catch by them, man. I was like, damn, that was big time. Anyway, let's get back to this.
What did you talk to a particular quarterback about when you following that game?
Just happy for their whole program. I was go to Clemson. That's a really good football team, and there's two really good football teams. Obviously, it's early in the year, but it was a very good football game.
I don't think we asked you yet, talked about it, but just the obvious fact that your son scored number 18 at LSU. You talked about how much that meant to him. What does that mean to you as well?
I think anytime your child is recognized by his peers, the people that, I know how important it is for us to talk about what's important in our locker room to our coaches and our players. And anytime, you have a child that gets recognized by his peers and his coaches and people within his building for being, something that represents what they want their program to represent. I think it's one, you feel blessed, you feel fortunate, and obviously proud.
Did you see anything that you gave advice on during the Saturday game that you took to heart?
It should be proud. Garrett came out in the second half and played really good, man.
Has stood out to you throughout this offseason about Dylan Riggs?
Yeah, Dylan's done a really good job, and obviously had to step in with Trevor's injury and has played well, and really excited about what he's done, and he's been dialed in since day one, been assignment sound, and really feel fortunate that we have the ability to, plug him in if we need be with Trevor's situation. Well, I think that you're still in week one. So we talk a lot about our process. We talk a lot about playing our style of football. And I think that's most important going into this game is that we lean into what the pillars of our program are. We got to play clean, fast football. We can't have mistakes. We can't have penalties, those type of things. You go out in an opener, we got to take care of the football and all those little things that you take for granted. They become really big in openers.
In a game like this, when it's week one and everything's kind of new for both sides, do you find that you focus more on doing what it is that you want to do, or are you still taking into account trying to maybe adjust to the things that you're expecting?
I think there's always that fine line balance every week when you do that. You're always, looking at your opponent and ways to strategically attack them. Yet at the same point in time, you can't make it all about attacking them and forget about who we are and what we do well. So there's always that fine line, and we'll find that balance.
Spencer's scrambling ability, is that something you kind of encourage even, early in games, early in drives? If something positive is there, you can take it? Or how do you kind of approach that part of the game?
Well, play extension is a big part of playing quarterback. And there's different types of play extension. Some guys extend plays from within the pocket, and that means a half-man slide off the midline to buy yourself a little more time before I have to get it out before I'm going to take a hit. Or, to the next level where I actually have to escape and get out and run. So, that's big with all of our quarterbacks. It's a big part of the game, because when you talk about defensive structure, they're built to, win that 2.3, as they say, the beginning of part of the snap. Now, what are we going to do afterwards? And a lot of it is not just on the quarterback. We train the receivers. We train the tight ends, the running backs, all of our passing group. And, hey, there's certain places we've got to get and certain reactions we need to get when we get into scramble phase.
So how much has that changed in the last, say, 10 years, maybe 15, I don't know, the defensive looks changing post-snap? It seems like it's been an evolution over the last period of time, making it difficult on the quarterback.
Sure. I do think there's a lot more disguise going on in the league. A lot of it is the style of offense that's being played too, because you've seen a big transition from, we go back to the days of the I backs and big tight end, two backs in the backfield, and really you were in some form of I or you were some form of slot formation. Now you got all these spread formations with empty and that kind of thing. So the defensive guys just aren't going to stand there and let you know what they're in. So they've evolved, and now they create problems for us because
draw them out.
Getting overload pressures, and there's athletic defensive linemen that are running out in coverage and those type of things that, create problems for you in your hots and sights and those kind of things. So yeah, it's a chess match that goes on both sides of the ball.
I think Doug Nussmeier, man, is got some game. And like we talked about with the Saints, man, we all know, and he made mention of the fact that even in the interview, they're on the same accord. Like Spencer Rattler, the Saints, that's a part of the advantage, like being in a rhythm, coming out of the huddle and operating in a rhythm, a timed offense that's fast, that puts pressure on the opposing defenses. It's going to be, are they going to play with that type of consistent speed and rhythm, like you putting fast guys out there moving around, that type of thing? Getting the ball out faster helps our offensive line in terms of protection. Like, we don't have to worry as much about Dylan Redunce or Trevor Penning or even Cesar Ruiz when he's struggling. We getting the ball out fast, and handling the business. So we'll see what this looks like, man. But Doug Nussmeier made some interesting points there. So, what's up, St. John 34? He says, yeah, I know, bro. You close your eyes. You can't tell the difference between Mills Lane. I was like, man, I heard this guy talk before, man. This is what it is. All right. Yeah. And John says, I can't unhear it now. Yeah, I know. That's crazy, man. What's up, Ramsey? Shout out to Ramsey, man. Appreciate you for being on the line. Yeah, I'm watching some of that right now, man. I'm looking at the game, some of that crap right now. It's 7-all between the two teams right now. Quarterback's looking all right, man. The numbers ain't bad either. What's up, Yvette? Shout out to Yvette. Appreciate her for being here in the building. KT, shout out to you. Don't hate on LSU, KT. We know Dougie Nussmeier's son, Garrett Nussmeier. You can't, hey, KT, you're a scout. Now you tell me how he didn't play that well in the first half. I got to give it. He didn't play that well at the first half. But boy, I'm telling you, Brian Kelly, right before they let Brian Kelly go into the locker room, you always get the sideline reporter walks up to the coach and talks to him and say, hey, such and such. And he was cool and I said, this dude gonna be blown up in there. And he went in there. He must have called him everything but a child of God in that locker room, because the offense came out the second half and they started cooking. They just started cooking. They ain't care about all the loud people in that stadium out there. They ain't care about the cheating ass, referees. They just went to business. They just went right to business and just started handling business. They didn't allow Clemson to do anything, and the offense was just tearing them up. They should have beat them 24 to 10, but they, like I said, they cheated the hell out of them with that touchdown. I was like, I just wanted to go and kick that rat face umpire with the slump back. I was like, yeah, that call is about it. It's just play the game correct. How you have I don't understand. You have all these monitors everywhere. There should not be a bad call unless they're trying to do something mischievous. That's how I look at it. You pause it. You use several different angles. You clearly see something, what it is, and they still call it the opposite way. And even the commentators are like, man, that's a touchdown. And I was like, yeah, they're trying to steal the game from him, but it didn't work. He got it and you didn't. So anyway, shout out to my Tigers. What's up, Ramsey? Young City 9, brother Duke, shout out to you. Mr. Don said, I think we're better than people think. People just say your whole team is bad if you don't have a QB. If Rattler plays at least average, we have a chance. That's what I'm saying. That is the ridiculousn's of this foolishness about saying the Saints ain't going to be this or that because they don't even say the head coaches. They skip right past the head coach and say the Saints quarterback room is the worst in the NFL. I'm like, what are your barometer? What are you talking about? How are you measuring this? How are you coming up with this? And if you challenge their talking point and challenge them to think what they're saying, the majority of the time they're getting that shit they're regurgitating something they heard from a national media personality who don't know shit about the team. Anybody that know about the Saints know that the Saints ain't the worst team in the NFL just because they have a second-year quarterback sitting on top of the team and you got playmakers all over the field. And you got a guy that's known to be innovative in terms of the offense. You got a top three, in my opinion, a top 3, top 5 running back in Elvin Kamara. There, Kendre is healthy. A really good running back room in my estimation. You have 2, Chris Olave. People forget about Chris Olave, because he's getting these concussions. People forget about Chris Olave with his speed, his route running, and all of those fantastic catches. We've forgotten Chris Olave one hand grabs them difficult catches with him running and blazing them people out and catching them. One hand grabs along the sideline at the Green Bay game, the Carolina game. People forget Chris Olave because they're concussing them. They're hitting them in their helmet. This is who you have. Jawan Johnson ain't a great blocker, but Jawan Johnson can do some positive stuff for you. I'm encouraged. You know, I'm encouraged because I know for a fact that the Saints offense is going to be better than what it was last year. That's what I'm saying. I spotted the Saints 2 wins because Dennis Allen is not here, because his stupid offensive coordinator is gone. I spot him wins because he didn't get in the way of the coach. Even Spencer Rattler said, you know, it's a different feeling here. He didn't mean to shoot shade, but he was telling the truth. And the truth was they had, you know, the team came together with teamship building exercises, paintball, this kind of stuff. He mentioned a player you can't deal without, Eric McCoy. And who is that? McCoy is the center. You have McCoy. McCoy is the brains and brawn, and he keeps these guys organized. You know, he's a calming influence in the Saints room insofar as when they're out there on that field, he's settling everybody down, telling them what you need to do and what you need to do. And this year, there's been an accelerated amount of aggression from Eric McCoy because the last 4 years of funk and failure. So hey man, I don't know where they get. I know where they're getting it from, the national media people downplaying the Saints. In Vegas numbers, picking the Saints, but you got to play the games on the field. All right, yes, sir. Shout out, cigarette, yes, cigarette voice. Yeah, Nussmeier, something going on, brother. All right, anyway, man, here, this is what's going on here, man. The Cowboys and Eagles right now, the boys up top. Cowboys handling the business. They're taking care of business on the Philadelphia Eagles. Y'all know that's a big rivalry between them two teams. That's a good game to start out with, to be honest with you. Fam, that's a very interesting game to start out. The first game of the season. You open up, which it's like us starting week 1, opening up against the Falcons. So if this is very meaningful, this Thursday night football game between the Cowboys and the Eagles. Right? This is a very meaningful game in many respects. And if the Cowboys lose after all this Parsons stuff and all this kind of stuff, they're up 14-7 right now. We'll see if it remains as we keep it going. But anyway, let's jump to the defensive side with Mr. Brandon Staley, talking about the Saints defense. We know offense, we just heard from Gus Nussmeier. We know about the Saints offensive, what they got to do, playing fast. And you have the 34 look is going to also be fast. We know Chase is dealing with some issues, but we got good depth pieces. That's what the depth chart's for, right? So anyway, let's hear what Coach Staley had to say, man, today about the defense.
Yeah, Ross, they do a really good job with their running game, both with their scheme and I think the way they use their personnel. I think their O-line is extremely well coached. They play with a lot of tight ends. And then I think the running back group runs really, really tough and physical. So I've got a ton of respect for James Conner. I think he's one of the underrated backs in the league. He's got a great story, and he's just a really physical player. And then when you factor in Kyler as a part of that equation too, they're very dangerous in that phase. And that's kind of, been the engine of their team the last couple of years.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the tight ends. Like the amount of 13 they play is like, I think the highest in the league. And some of the stuff they're able to do with those guys, like how does that maybe dictate some of the matchups and how do you deal with it?
Yeah, I mean, you're adding gaps in the run game and you're adding vertical threats in the passing game. So I think Drew Petzing does a really good job tying it all together, the marriage of the run and the pass. And I think all three of those tight ends complement one another, and it gives them a lot of flexibility with how they play because they all play really different roles, but impactful roles for their team. So, they're one of the teams that's unique in that way right now.
I always want to qualify when I ask a 3-4 versus 4-3 question because I know it's not that simple, but in general, is a 3-4 scheme better suited to handle mobile quarterbacks and keep them corralled, do you think? Or that's case by case?
That's interesting. Does he sound like Rizzy? Rizzy is, that's who's more raspier, Rizzy or Nuss or Doug? Boy, that's some raspy bastards there, man.
I think it's based on personnel, whether you're 4-3 or 3-4, your actual people rushing and how you rush the quarterback. That's the biggest factor. And, I think when you're playing a player like Kyler, you're not going to bat a perfect percentage for 4 quarters. So it's really a team operation. It's not just the rushers, it's the coverage players too. And so it's a 60-minute fight against a player like that. And you got to have great stamina.
I agree.
You got to play a lot of people because you want to be fresh in the 4th quarter to be able to rush him at the end when it counts. But yeah, he's one of the premier guys in the league running the football and making plays outside the pocket.
It's hard to find the right balance between how aggressive you want to be and how you want to make sure you don't leave any openings if you're too aggressive.
Yeah, definitely. You're trying to find the right balance of how to rush them, who to rush them with, and also being really mindful that they've got really good skill players too. So you want to make sure you try to tie your rush and your coverage together and force them to work, make them earn it. And knowing that, he's a really good player. He's going to make plays. Just like in basketball, there's some guys who are going to make shots, no matter how well you cover. So he's going to make some shots, and our guys just got to keep it moving. We got to keep our composure, and we got to try and have our best at the end.
With Chase Young dealing with injury right now, have y'all done anything in that edge rusher room to maybe add another option?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to roll with the guys that we have, and going to take everybody in that room and every other room too. So we've got guys that are going to be ready to do the job. That's why we've been trying to prepare so hard in camp, to get those guys live looks. And, some of those guys that are role players, having them play against starters in the preseason and stuff like that, that helps them, so that game one isn't the first time they played against, the big time competition. So it's going to take everybody. I'm excited about our guys. They do it the right way. And it's going to be a great challenge for us on Sunday.
Talk about personnel-wise when it comes to managing mobile quarterbacks. How much does that star position sort of factor into that along with the defensive front?
Yeah, I mean, I think all the ways that you can rush them, if you can have multiple different, types of rushers, I think that can help you. But again, they're faster players, but they're also not used to rushing the passer as much as our guys on the edge. So it's how you rush them. And it's everybody. If you are going to decide to rush somebody from, the perimeter, from behind the ball, they've got to rush just like the guys up front, and they've got to have that same type of awareness of the pocket and how he plays and then how dangerous he is in the pocket.
I feel like how we were talking before about how Julian and Dustin complement each other. Do edge rushers complement each other at all? Like do Carl and Chase?
Yeah, I do. I agree with that 100%. I think about the Dome Patrol, New Orleans, Pat Swilling and Ricky Jackson. You have a power rusher in Ricky Jackson with a speed rusher like Pat Swilling.
He invoking the Dome.
Fortunate in the NFL, Khalil Mack and Leonard Floyd, those guys playing together. Von Miller and Bradley Chubb. I think that there's a lot to that. I think if you look at the great combinations, that's certainly, I think, something that you want to have. And I think we have enough versatility here that we can play that way too.
Patrol.
And as you mentioned, our guys are accomplished rushers. We've got 3 guys for sure that have, produced at a high level. And Chris has been a veteran in this league for a long time too. And, we have Fidel too. And a couple other guys too that we feel like at least, they fit the description of an edge player. So
on a personal level, how cool is it for you to be on the opposite side of it?
Yeah, it's one of those, we've come a long way. Since playing each other on the basketball court in the 4th grade. So, he's one of the best I know. He means a lot to me, and I'm just so happy for him. Not surprised at all where he is, because I've seen it for a long time. So he's done a hell of a job coaching and leading that football team. And on Sunday, it's going to be, one of those special moments that we get to share together, but at the same time, we're there to win. So
one of the more innovative schemes right now, just like the way they use their safeties and disguise and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan's one of the top coaches defensively in the league, but he's not just a defensive coach. I mean, I think the way they play offensively fits, very well with how, he believes in leading a team too. And I think on special teams,
the Cardinals are interesting.
Rogers,
that's for certain.
I had the chance to work with Jay's brother. They're very, very specific on special teams too. So he's just a complete coach. And again, very happy for his success.
Had a chance to work together, right?
I think a lot of what we see from lined up with Coach Staley saying about the Saints defense, he's invoking the Dome Patrol. And the thing is, and that's done because obviously the last decent time we ran, the Saints participated in 34 defense was the Dome Patrol. So invoking that energy is big, man. I don't see the Saints being as good as that unit. Perhaps maybe they do. That's a tall order. By Hall of Famers, their mentions is the best defense that ever existed in the NFL. I think Mike Singletary said it. Some of the greatest linebackers said the Saints defense. They said the Saints defense, the Dome Patrol, was one of the NFL's best defense. So, man, if they'll be a tall order, I'm just looking for them to be a top 10 unit, a top 10, top 12 unit, handling the business. And the way they looked with the scheme change from the 43 to the 34, this in preseason and throughout the practice sessions, it looked real comfortable doing that, man. So that's very interesting, man, to say the least. All right. Shout out to you, man. Shout out, fam. All right. Big ups to you. All right. Student says in Hawaii, they call Murray the Filipino chicken. All right. All right. Ramsey says Staley sounds. Yeah, well, I got him up a tad. I got the interview sped up just a tab. That's why it sounds like that. I try to get through them damn things, All right. Mr. Don said Turnbull was a good player on that team too. Doesn't get mentioned much. No, not much. You talking about the great Ricky Jackson, Sam Mills, Pat Swilling, Vaughn Johnson, and Turnbull came off the bench When Pat left, I think Turnbull had an opportunity to start. But yeah, Turnbull was another really solid player the Saints had in the linebacker core. But a lot of the front guys don't get mentioned much in the Dome Patrol. They just, when they say Dome Patrol, they just show full linebackers, which is a shame. Because even though those guys were great, there were guys up front that helped make them great. Frank Warren, Jim Wilkes, all these guys. They need to get mentioned too. So when they did the Dome Patrol pictures and they had to sit in front of the dome with the Jeeps and all that, they should have added some of them guys with it, man. So, but it is what it is, simply. All right, Jaden says 2 rushes in my big Q voice. That's right. 2 rushes. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm looking at some of this stuff going on right now in the second, 7:42 remaining on the clock. Cowboys up 14-7, and the Eagles have the ball and are marching in the red zone. So let's see if the Eagles can go up and tie this thing, man, and on the Cowboys, man, right now. Jalen Hurts is 6 for 6. He doing some stuff, man. He's 6 for 6, just 31 yards. He scrambled 4 times. He got a touchdown scrambling, and he has 35 yards. So he's the the number 1 rusher as well as the passer. Dak's not doing bad either. 5 or 6 for 79 yards. Their running back Williams has 34 yards rushing, and also has 2 rushing touchdowns. So not bad. And of course, just now the Eagles score. So the Eagles have tied up the game. 8-yard touchdown run by Jalen Hurts. So he got 5 scrambles for 2 touchdowns and 43 yards right there. And Jaden Daniels does what Jaden Daniels does. He gets touchdowns, and he just tied the game. It's 14 all between Cowboys and the Eagles. So there you go. This 14 up. All right, there we go. All right, yeah, I'm a little delayed. All right, KT says, Q, scouts heads up. Keep your eyes on wide receiver Nick Anderson and wide receiver Nick. Yeah, Harbaugh, I am aware of Harbor and Anderson as well. A lot of people think he's going to have an exceptional year, him coming out doing this thing. But we're going to see, man. Coach Kelly alluded to having different players operate and throwing them in there. It's going to be interesting, man. I think this year is going to be really good football for LSU, man. English says Hurts is carving these carving them up. L-Dub says, I'm glad the Saints don't have to face Hurts this year. This is the part of you might not face Hurts, but we do have a scrambling quarterback in Kyler Murray that we'll have to do something with. We can't allow him, and he's little guy's undersized, but he makes plays. So we have to be able to keep him under control and not allow him to